Hello, FinCom team. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you are seeing this demo session. So this is a demo session I'm going to record specifically for FinCom team, and I'm very excited. I would have preferred, blackboard or whiteboard, but then because I don't have it, so let's go with the presentation format. So I'm going to screen record this presentation with also my video at bottom of your screen. So as I said, I'm very excited, and let's begin the presentation. Yeah, so my name is Tejas, and I'm going to be your training partner for today. And today's topic, what I have selected is standard costing. So, standard costing is very interesting topic because it's not only a little difficult or complex topic what people find in theory, but then when you talk about its practical implication or day-to-day use in the corporate world, in my personal experience, this is a topic which is used widely in day-to-day business operations. So be it any area of costing or management accounting, I think people will face this topic a lot in the real life scenario also. So I think that has made me to select this topic. And as standard costing is a complete package, so it's never only a standard costing. So that's why I would say that it's one plus one offer. When you hear a term standard costing, it's not only standard costing, but then it is always to be considered with the part which is a variance analysis. So standard costing and variance analysis go together, hand in hand, and both topics are not a standalone topic, but then we need to study together, and that is how we are going to do that today. So before we begin the actual topic, let's understand how our session is designed or structured. So first, in the first part, we will see the definition. So, what is standard costing? What is variance analysis? Let's try to understand from the theory point of view that how the definition is given and then what it talks about. Then we will take a step back and we will try to understand, where what is the position of standard costing in the overall costing family. So I think this will give us a better background to understand and appreciate standard costing also. Then we will see few examples of standard costing. We will take one simple example. We will take one complex example which required some additional calculation or some additional concepts. So we will see that. So for that, for the example, we will move to Excel sheet. Then after seeing the example, we will also see the real world scenario, how standard costing is actually used, or how it is affects the real work in the corporate environment. So the another point is who is the right target audience for this topic or this session. So I would say the professional intermediate students who are learning standard costing for the first time. For them, I think this is a good beginning. But then this also will give a good perspective, or it will brush up the knowledge of people who have already learned standard costing, but maybe now they are revisiting the concept. So this session should help them also. Yeah, so with this, I think basic things, let's move and see what is the standard costing. So what is the definition of that? So for definition part, we will refer to the definition of what the CIMA or Chartered Institute of Management Accountant UK has defined. So for standard costing as well as for variance analysis, we will use the definition given by CIMA. So I'll read out the definition first, and then we will break it down and try to understand what it tries to say, and then what are the important factors. So the definition goes is the plan unit of cost of the product, component, or service produced in a period. The standard cost may be determined on number of bases. The main use of standard cost is in performance measurement, control, stock valuation, and in establishment of selling price. So I think if you carefully read these three sentences, you will see that the implication or application of standard costing is very wide. It is not restricted only to do a costing or calculate a cost, but then it talks about also control, performance measurement, stock valuation, and also in establishing selling prices. So as I said, the standard costing is a topic or a subject which is related to many areas, and that is why it is very useful. But the key points, what one can understand from this definition is standard costing is something related to plan activities. So, what does this plan mean? So, this plan is basically related to your business plan. So, I think everybody is aware that year on year basis, organization will do business plan, be it in a budget format, or maybe doing a forecast or estimation, and then these plans normally will cover from start to end the whole business process, from how much we are going to sell to how much we are going to produce, what kind of headcount, manpower is required, and then basis on that we will see that what is the profitability for that organization. So somewhere standard costing is largely related to this. And how it is related? Because this plan activity is a kind of input for standard costing. Because when you are calculating a standard cost for say maybe a future period, so obviously you will need some data, and we will see how standard cost calculation is done maybe in coming slides. So there we can correlate, but then lot of activities are related to business planning, so that's why then it becomes a very important activity, and that is why I said the in practical job also you will see that many cost accountant or many management accountant or anybody who is working in this costing and management area are related or doing activities which are related to standard costing. So I think plan is first important or key point what we learn. So standard costing is derived from business planning. Then the second point what definition talks about, or the key point of definition, is performance measurement. So standard costing is not just a accounting or the calculation is done, you know what is the cost. It is also used to evaluate the performance. It is also used to check whether the organization's KPIs are met or not. And then that increases the importance of standard costing in multifold way, because it's not only a calculation part, but then here the analysis part also comes, because when you measure something you are comparing something. And third important point what definition talks about is it's a periodic nature. So it's not a kind of one time activity where you set your standard cost and then you forget for multiple years. It's not like that. It is going to be a periodic activity. So maybe you will set a standard cost for a year or maybe a shorter period, but then even if the standard cost is set for 1 year, you will revisit it on a monthly basis or a regular basis to check how what is happening in that standard cost versus the actual scenario. So 3 points what we saw was plan, performance, measurement, and periodic. So interestingly, now I also realized that if you see these 3 points starts with P, it's like 3P of standard costing, like we have 4P of marketing. So maybe we can say that standard costing definition can be easily remembered by remembering this 3P. What are these 3P? Plan, performance, and periodic nature of the standard cost. So this is the definition part. I think we will get better clarity when we actually will see the example, and in the coming slide, as I said, then we will discuss how it is being used in the real world also. Now moving to the next slide. So as I said, standard costing always comes with the variance analysis. So let's understand the definition of variance analysis also. So variance analysis definition, again a SEMA definition, what it talks about is the evaluation of performance by means of variances whose timely reporting should maximize the opportunity for managerial action. So again, this is very interesting and important definition, because it again highlights very important points, or the summary, I would say 3 points what we need to really focus on to understand what variance analysis does. It's a timely evaluation. So in standard costing we saw it's a periodic, but then even if it is a periodic, the evaluation has to happen on time. So it's like kind of fixed time regularly, like maybe if you are doing it monthly, maybe you are doing the analysis within first 5 days, within 10 days, so that you have all the similar data or the base is same. So it's going to be a timely evaluation. Then it helps you to optimization of opportunities. So it's not only a postmortem, but then it helps you to understand what is happening in the real situation in the organization. Are there any things which maybe possibility of doing things in a better way? Because obviously you are comparing here the overall cost, and it is not related to only maybe as we earlier saw, it is not only for the production, but then it could be for the various other areas. So that's why it is obviously is a very wide concept, but then the main purpose is to identify the opportunities where we can maybe optimize or maximize the current status. And the most important part of the variance analysis is it should lead to managerial action. Because if it is only a postmortem and then you are trying to identify the reason, but then if you're not going to act on that, the situation is not going to change. So that is why the variance analysis helps not only to identify, but then it also helps to decide what should be my course of action. So it's a very important managerial tool. So now with this, I think we now have a basic idea of the standard costing and variance analysis of the definition, what definition talks about it. And then, as I said, maybe here also, if you see it's, easy to remember, maybe we can consider as TOM, so Tom. So maybe 3P and Tom. So timely evaluation, optimization of opportunities and managerial action. That is the abbreviation for Tom. So with standard costing and variance analysis definition, now I think let's move and see what is this variance analysis is all about. Means what kind of variance analysis we have. So here basically again the standard, because variance analysis can be done in multiple ways, because it's a kind of a breakdown of identifying the reason or the standard versus actual comparison, what has caused the differences.